Hello everybody, it is Emery48 here and welcome back to another Star Wars video. Today we are continuing on the Legends timeline with the novel Jedi Trial by David Sherman and Dan Cragg. It takes place in 22 BBY, and we're still in this weird time in the Legends timeline where things seem to be a little out of order. Prologue. Obi-Wan has been given a solo assignment, leaving his Padawan, Anakin, on Coruscant. Obi-Wan wants Anakin to be the model Jedi Knight while he is gone, so the Jedi Council will accept Obi-Wan's request of putting Anakin through his Jedi Trial upon return. Anakin studied in the archives for 3 days, coming up with possible new strategies for their future battles. Anakin and Master Ninja Halcyon sparred. Both were impressed with the other's skills. They have agreed to spar again the next day. Halcyon is stuck on Coruscant after the person he was supposed to arrest stole his ship and got away. Chapter 1. Raja Momin is the chief administrator of the Intergalactic Communications Center on Praesitlyn. General Kamar has engaged a Separatist force 150 kilometers southwest of the Communications Center. Kamar appointed Commander Lanmore to be the head of security for the center. An hour later, without contact from Kamar, a force landed near the communications center. Slith Scale, the chief of the communications staff, closed the force dome around the center and reported to Raja. The Separatists are blocking the communications off-planet. Lanmore is going to engage the droid army. Raja has ordered the technicians to destroy the equipment so it doesn't fall into Separatist hands. Chapter 2. Admiral Pors Tonith is in charge of the invasion on Praesitlyn. This is definitely in the wrong location on the timeline, as Ventress is still working under Dooku and Anakin is still an apprentice. Ventress has called Tonith looking for a status report on the battle. Tonith finds Ventress attractive, not only in looks, but especially in her personality and confidence. Tonith is a Mun, and a member of one of the most successful and ruthless families of the intergalactic banking clan. His flagship is the Corpulentus. Chapter 3. Anakin and Halcyon sparred a few more days in a row. Over dinner after sparring one day, Halcyon revealed how impressed he was of Anakin, and how impressed he knows Obi-Wan is as well. Halcyon also assured Anakin that the Council will let him face the trials when the time is right. Chapter 4. Lieutenant Urk Harmon and his wingmate Ensign Pleth Strom were running surveillance when they found the enemy fleet 150 kilometers south of the communications center. They took out 10 droid ships and quickly fled back to the center to regroup with the fleet. Odi Subu observed the incoming enemy landing force from a ridge. She is a member of the Recon Squad. The squad leader is Sergeant Max Maganini. Tammy is another member of the Recon Squad. Odi was shooting video footage of the droid army when the ridge the Recon Squad was on started to get shot at. Odi got on her speeder bike to get the footage to General Kamar. On Odi's ride back to headquarters, she found Maganini, who was badly injured, missing an ear. Odi and Maganini made it back safely, delivering the intel they had gathered. Kamar instructed his officers, setting up their advance against the droids. Chapter 5. Kamar has realized that the droid army they are looking at is not the main force, and wants to slowly sneak his army to a different position to better defend the communications center from the other, larger part of the droid army. Karaksk Vetla reported the repositioning to Tonith. Tonith has ordered the main droid army wipes out Kamar's forces before moving on the communications center. Odi is bringing Lieutenant Colonel Crean of the Engineering Battalion to a rock formation, where they will set up a rear supply base. Odi brought Crean and a convoy of engineering vehicles to the location to set up the base. She then returned to headquarters. Urk Harmon was shot down. He is going to attempt to safely crash land his fighter. Urk Harmon crash landed next to Odi's position, where she was waiting out the sandstorm. There was an explosion around their position after they introduced themselves to each other. Chapter 6. Pors Tonith and his droid army took over the communications center. Raja slapped Pors, which took him completely by surprise. Pores threw Raja to the floor by her hair, and there was no more defiance by the technicians. Urk and Odie took shelter while the droids took out General Kamar's ground troops. Once the battle ended, the sandstorm returned. Odie and Urk are not going to return to the center, as they are certain it has been taken over by the droid army. After 2 days of traversing, Urk and Odie found a cave system where they stayed for 2 more days. The cave had water, which they had run out of. They have decided they had to leave the following morning, as they are now out of food. On the night before they planned to leave, Urk and Odie kissed, then fell asleep. Chapter 7. Zosrador Slake has arrived in the Praesitlyn space. He is leading an army of 50,000 against the Separatist army of an estimated 1 million on arrival. He has requested reinforcements from Coruscant, but expects none. Odie and Urk saw new ships enter the atmosphere, knowing there is a relief force. Then their speeder died, and they would have to finish the journey on foot. Pors Toneth has begun planning how to defend against the new force. Chapter 8. Palpatine has summoned his allies to his apartment to discuss the issue in the Siswena sector. Senator Paige Tarkin, the representative of the Siswena sector, Masameda, Speaker of the Senate, Jani Hanuk, a senior member of the Security and Intelligence Council, Armand Isard, the Director of Republic Intelligence, and Sate Pestage, Controller of the Senate's Executive Agenda, who I believe has also carried out assassinations and other jobs for Palpatine in the past. Slake is a former pirate pardoned by Palpatine. Slake's army call themselves the Sons and Daughters of Freedom. Palpatine wants to send the reserve force of 20,000 clones on Centax 1, which is a moon of Coruscant. This would leave Coruscant relatively undefended. Senator Hanuk is the only person at the meeting to openly oppose. Sly Moore, Palpatine's assistant, called Hanuk after their meeting, disguising face and voice. Hanuk was offered a promotion and raise if she supported Palpatine's plan. Hanuk agreed. Chapter 9. Halcyon has been summoned by the Council. Palpatine has requested that Halcyon lead the clone army to Praesitlyn. Slake is the person that had stolen Halcyon's ship while he was meant to arrest him. Halcyon seemed alright with working alongside Slake. Halcyon met with Anakin and informed him of the mission. Halcyon and Anakin met with Grudo, a professional soldier and longtime friend of Halcyon. Grudo has agreed to join them and help lead the clone army. Chapter 10. Urk and Odie rested next to some rocks in the desert sun. Urk saw a vulture-like creature bite off one of Odie's legs. Urk shot at the creature, although he knew there was no such creature native to Praesitlyn, most likely hallucinating. Anakin met and inspected his troops that he would lead into battle, including the 50 commandos assigned to his division. Chapter 11. Sergeant Omen Lox and Corporal Jamur Nath have found Odie and Urk and are giving them water under a temporary shelter. Jamur died when the group was attacked by a Separatist scout squad. Odie, Urk, and Lox were able to kill the attackers. Odie and Lox are going to retrieve Jamur's body while Urk waits for them where the fight took place, which seems really stupid and asking for Urk to die. Toneth called Dooku for an update on his reinforcements. Dooku was not very sympathetic for Toneth's situation and new foe, but said his reinforcements were on the way. Chapter 12. Grudo had helped Slake steal Halcyon's ship. Grudo respects both Slake and Halcyon as men and warriors, and is glad the three of them can work together against the Separatists. Chapter 13. Urk, Odie, and Lox made it to their encampment. Urk's speeder had been shot, and he was unconscious for a short time, but alright. Urk and Odie have met Slake. They are going to be gunners at the closest fort, Isabel, along the trench line to the communications center. While Odie was sleeping and Urk was on watch, Urk spotted thousands of droids in the space between trenches. He started firing, alerted Odie and Central Command. Chapter 14. Anakin wrote a love letter to Padme that would be delivered to her if he died in battle. Halcyon also wrote a letter for loved ones if he died, his wife and son still hidden from the Jedi Order, Sarah and Valen. Halcyon revealed to Anakin that he has a wife and kids, then asked if Anakin would report him to the Jedi Council, as he is the only Jedi he has told. Anakin responded by telling Halcyon about Padme. Halcyon was surprised that not even Obi-Wan knew of Anakin's secret, but it is now a secret the pair can share together. Chapter 15. Bwoof, one of Tonith's commanders, argued with his orders for an extended period of time, so Tonith made him sit in a corner, watched by 2 droids, ordered to kill Bwoof if he tried to get up. Odie tried to get Urk to stop firing and retreat as they had been instructed once they would be overwhelmed. An explosion happened just outside their bunker. The room went dark and Odie heard a scream. Slake and his officers prepared for their last stand against the droids in the fortification called Judlee. The bunker Odie and Urk were in had collapsed in the battle, leaving them trapped under the rock. They are safe from the droids, but due to die of dehydration shortly, which is a problem they've run into more times than you would think in the last couple of days. Chapter 16. Halcyon and Anakin's fleet have arrived and started to attack Tonith's fleet. The Republic have taken out the ship with their communications jammer and can now communicate with each other, Coruscant, and Slake's fleet. Halcyon's ship has been boarded. Halcyon is taking some soldiers to meet the boarding party with force. Anakin has launched the landing party. Halcyon and his crew have fended off the boarding party, but the ship is now too damaged to rejoin the battle. Halcyon is preparing to join Anakin on Praesitlyn. That's all I have for this video. We're halfway through the book, but I do not have time to finish the book in today's video. Thank you everybody so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.